North Wilkesboro Speedway has reopened its gates, and the CRL Modified Division is there for round 4, the inaugural Wilkesboro 100. Since we're at a short track, the pre-qualifying race had more cars, and the qualifying race had less cars to keep things fair for everybody. The big story out of the qualifying race was Jen Walker, the Arla CEO, spun out Brendan Rohde and Jason Teller Sr. during the race, and officials were none too happy about that, and they gave Walker a 3-second penalty to add to her time at the end of the race. She crossed the line 18th, the final transfer spot to get into the big show. However, the 3-second penalty dropped her back to 23rd, and CJ Long benefited, being bumped up into the final transfer spot into today's big race. Now, Walker will not be disciplined for what happened in the qualifying race. She will most likely be warned, but it is very ironic that somebody who runs a series where you are called to the hauler after a bump and run would be penalized out of the weekend for essentially doing the same thing. One car that desperately needed to get into a race not only got into the race, but they got the pole. And you will see in just a few seconds who our new first-time Red Robin Pole Award winner happens to be. It's Darrell Wallace. Wallace failed to qualify for the first 3 races of the season. Coming to the green flag, here's Jay Jannerin, qualified 15th, but has to pit because he has a puncture. He would lose only 1 lap. Here's the race start. Wallace starting on the front row along with CJ Kierman, but a great jump for that number 23 car. This is also the debut, the CRL debut for Stoidler Motorsports, who owns that number 23. And yes, that is it, as in Scott Stoidler, TM Master Cup Series veteran. And nice lead that Wallace has going through turn 3. All alone at the top. It won't be for long, though. He'll lead the first lap, as you'll see in the next clip. That 15 car of Mike Lee, who started 5th, jumps through the pack pretty quickly, and he will get around Wallace going into turn number 1. And as they hit the back straightaway, you will see Jannerin merge back onto the track with 4 new tires. Lap 3, here is Aaron Devers, who started 7th in the 83, passing Wallace for 2nd. Now, we had only 1 caution in this 100-lap race. The qualifying race had 3. And here is that only caution that took place on lap 6. Wallace has just been dropped back to 4th by Holden Roberts. He goes into turn number 1. Tina Lee clips the right rear quarter panel and turns her pole center hard into the outside wall. She goes with him. Lee continues, but Wallace is out. He'll get a bonus point for winning the pole, but he could have gotten so much more out of that. And I have no idea why that happened. Here's a look from above. You see Wallace going into the turn, and Lee just clipped him. I have no idea. The officials had no idea what happened. It was a surprising development to all of us. Wallace would be the only car to retire. Here's yet another look at the incident. An unbelievable development. Wallace was not happy at all over this. Here's an onboard look at Tina Lee, and there you see the graphic. She's called to the hauler after the race. The officials wondering what happened. Look at that debris flying. It's hard to believe that Lee survived this accident. Very, very hard to believe, and very unfortunate for Darrell Wallace to finally qualify and then have that happen to him. Restart at the end of lap 11. Lee continues to lead. Jannerin pulling away with the fresher tires, and Roberts gets around Devers for 2nd as everybody hits the back straightaway. There's John Hawks in the 45, who started 4th, trying to get around Devers for 3rd. Lap 13, going into turn 3. Hawks gets right up behind the 27, gives him a bump, and Roberts goes into the wall, and he's going to be riding it for quite a bit. Unable to pull off it until he gets out of turn 4. However, Roberts would only drop back to 4th, but it did do some damage, and he would have to pull into the pit lane. Unfortunate for the young Canadian. You know he desperately wanted a good finish, and there is Hawks. An onboard view of the incident. He was warned about rough driving. But it continued. Here's David Sprague, having lost 6th place to Garth Davidson, getting turned into the pit lane by Sean Percy. He hits the brakes, scrapes the wall. He's not out of the race, but he won't score any points. He pits immediately to change his right sides. What an unfortunate break for the 53-year-old. Now, this did upset the officials enough that they called Percy to the hauler after the race. As you see the incident from the 62's onboard cam, and you'll see just a glimpse of Sprague hitting the wall at the end of the clip. There it is right there. Maybe you caught it out of the corner of your eye. Here's lap 17 in turn 3. Hawks right up on the back bumper of Mike Lee. Gives him a bit of a bump. Lee holds on, but he drifts up high coming out of turn 4. Hawks takes advantage, peeks to the inside. Lee holds the lead at the line for the time being. Hawks pokes the nose in front coming out of turn 2. And there's Holden Roberts coming out of the pit lane. You know he's furious with that 45 car. And as they go into turn 3, Hawks will complete the pass of the 15 car. Here's lap 19. Eric Laycross in 16. Drifts up out of turn 2. Clips the wall. Gets into Rush McLeod. That could have been a big accident. McLeod survives. And look at CJ Long fitting himself in the middle of those two. Wow. What wildness here. Here's lap 21. This is Davidson. Qualified 19th. He's going to pass Aaron Devers for third spot. So the young Englishman tearing through the field in the very early going. We're only a fifth of the way through this race. Let's check back in on the outside pole sitter. Here's Cameron. Only 21 laps in, and he is being passed by Pierre Duval and Johnny Bellows for 22nd and 23rd respectively. White Mountain Motorsports issuing a challenge to Cameron and Sprague. Whoever the better driver is will get the second Arla Elite Series ride for the team in 2011. Right now, that's the 50-year-old Sprague, which is really surprising considering Cameron won 2 races last year and sat on the pole for Phoenix this year. Here's Craig Mummert finally making his 2010 debut after failing to qualify for the first 3 races. He is, of course, John Hawk's teammate at MT Motorsports. He only qualified 29th, and he's only up to 24th. You got to wonder if he'll get a late season turnaround like he did last year. Of course, Mummert won the 13th race of the season in 2009 at Portland. So he is desperately hoping to turn his season around before he is dumped. Lap 25, here's Larry Dimmick, who qualified 22nd, passing Brandon Malloy for 5th spot. But he's not done yet. As you see, Devers is tucked up behind Roberts. They go into turn 3, and Dimmick will pass the 83 car to get into 4th spot. So Dimmick making moves through the field like a madman. Let's go to lap 29, where that black 7 car of Kurt Shelton is tucked up behind Devers. This is for 6th spot. Shelton qualified 17th. It was at round 6 last year at British Columbia where he showed up with those colors, the blank black car with the white numbers. Shelton has scored 8 points so far in 2010. He's looking to double that today with a 6th place finish. Lap 33, here is Hawks lapping his teammate Mummert. Boy, what a contrast those two have had so far this season. Lap, I don't know what lap it is, but here is Hawks lapping Q-Race winner Eli Labatt. Labatt led the same number of laps as Lyman Mills, but Mills had a flat tire and ended up not qualifying. Labatt 22nd after qualifying 27th today. 22nd after qualifying 27th. Here is Hawks now lapping Pierre Duval. Duval in 20th where he qualified. Surprisingly poor run for Duval, who scored points at both Phoenix and in Loudon. Let's check back in on Tina Lee. This is lap 40. She is now in 15th spot. Of course, she's been called to the hauler for the Darrell Wallace incident that happened on lap number 6. Lee, of course, won the opening round at Irwindale and finished 2nd at Phoenix before not scoring in the 3rd race in New Hampshire. And it looks like she won't be scoring again today, which is good because who knows what punishment she will get. Lap 43, this is inevitable. Davidson has run down Mike Lee, and he will pass him, or at least try to, going into turn 1, as Lee deals with Eli Labatt. However, Davidson's trapped behind Labatt, and that will give Lee a chance to fight back on the outside before they go into turn 3, and Davidson completes the pass for good. So the young Englishman having his best run of the season so far. Checking back in on the 2 drivers related to the Jen Walker controversy. Here's the first one, Brendan Rohde. He started 23rd. He's now up to 7th spot. This is lap 45. He's only scored 4 points so far this year. Of course, Brendan also had a poor beginning to 2009 before he won the 10th race of the season at Charlotte. So he too is looking for a good turnaround, although he's had much better luck than Craig Mummert has had so far this season. Before we check in on the other driver, here is Dimmick on lap number 47, passing Mike Lee for third spot. So Dimmick continues to march his way through the field, looking for a top 3 finish. Checking in on the other driver related to the Jen Walker controversy this weekend, here is Jason Teller Sr. in the 77. He is 11th after qualifying 25th. So the Dark Star car having a fantastic run. Teller has scored only 6 points so far in his rookie season, but that's not too bad as you see him get tucked up behind Aaron Devers as Devers laps the 71 of Rush McLeod. Lap 55, Jay Janarin's gone all the way back up to 14th, and he's about to gain a few more spots. There's Craig Mummert up there fighting with Sean Percy, trying not to be lapped by the 62. Here's Janarin diving into turn 3, coming up on C.J. Long, and there's Teller. Teller, Janarin, Long are going to be 3 wide coming out of turn 4, and Janarin is going to pass them both going into turn 1 and lap Mummert. So Janarin moves up to 12th. He's now in the final points-paying spot after having his puncture issue before the green flag. Now here's lap 59. Long's gotten back around Janarin, and he is trying to pass Sean Percy for 10th as they deal with the lap cars of João Guerrero and John Wainwright. Long would get the position. Now, don't have enough clips to make it a 15-minute or less video, so this is the end of part 1 of this race review. Stay tuned for part number 2.